All right, so what the fuck is integration? So what the fuck is integration? This is such a complex question, and there's 1,000 answers for it. And so I'm going to talk about a number of different aspects of integration, because really the path can be different depending on what is coming up for you, what you're processing, what your experience was. First, I'll say the word integration means to take two separate things and to integrate them. So it doesn't mean to blend them, it doesn't mean to make them one thing, it just means to take two separate things and bring them together. In psychedelics, what we're saying is that there's a psychedelic experience, an altered consciousness experience, where you are seeing reality from a completely different perspective, and you're maybe exploring your unconscious, subconscious minds, you're working in the body, you're working on completely different dimensions or planes, however you see it, right? There's this thing happening over here. Then you come out of those experiences and you're back in your day-to-day life. You're back in 3D, you're back in time and space. You have commitments and family and work and a body to take care of. The process of integration is a matter of taking what we learn from these psychedelic experiences and integrating that into our real lives. Because our real lives is where we actually find meaning, where we actually find the opportunity to create joy in this world for ourselves and for others. It's where the real healing happens. So there's a lot of different ways that integration can look based on what might be coming up for you. For some, it is processing a new understanding of how trauma in your past or events from your past, whether you consider them trauma or not, how those affect how you show up today, right? And paying attention to that so that you can start to create a new way of showing up and a new way of feeling. So sometimes it's an intellectual process of looking at, okay, so these things happened, and now I understand that because these things happened, it makes me this way when I show up in the world today. And some of that's great, and some of that I think could be better or could make me happier or make others around me happier and feel more content. So how do I connect those dots, and how do I come up with that? And so that type of integration is often based around talk therapy or coaching, journaling, those sorts of things. Another thing that can come up specifically with 5-MeO-DMT is that a big physical process begins, especially if you have more acute traumas in your life where there's physical abuse or sexual abuse, or even more intense emotional abuse when you were younger. There can be just a lot of energy that begins to move through the 5-MeO experience that doesn't necessarily complete in the days of the retreat or the ceremony itself, that are actually happening in the days and weeks after you come out. So that's much more physical integration, where body work and somatic therapy and various physical modalities to help release, continually releasing that trauma and that energy until that process completes. And we'll talk more about that as well. Another aspect is receiving insights that are somewhat vague in your experience or are very broad, and then figuring out how to narrow those down so that they become very clear intentions for you in your day-to-day life. So something like creating mantras or purpose statements or intention statements that can help you take very broad ideas about, oh, I should be a more loving person, to I should support my wife in this way more often, or my husband in this way, or I could listen to my kids more when they need my attention, or whatever those things might be. Maybe it's something around your work. Other times, integration is more about coming to awareness and sensitivity around where there is misalignment in your life. So I feel like this is often one of the most challenging forms of integration, is that the work you are doing is really around unlocking yourself in a situation with your career or your family or your partner, maybe your children, maybe your community. And it's really a matter of checking in and listening to the voice that is now there after the experience and determining how to best proceed, how to make shifts in your life, and how to really figure out what your actual values are, what you believe you actually deserve in this life, and then implementing that. What I'll say lastly here is that often people think about integration as a very linear, sort of time-bound process. It's a 7-day integration process, and then it's complete. The truth is that the process could be days, it could be weeks, and often it's months. It's more of like a continual looping around messages, around insights, around release, and it's a continual surrendering. I hope that that makes some sense, and I hope that the following videos will continue to help illuminate some of what we've just discussed.